What's up, everybody? It is your girl, Destiny Gilliam, owner and founder of the Creative Reading Coach, and I'm here with one of my favorite topics, and it is about navigating the most difficult conversations with your child's school. I'm going to be giving you the 5 things that I need you to do in order to make that conversation lighter, easier when you're working with your child's school. Now, as you know, we do offer an online reading program. So if at any moment you're like, I need to work with this company, I need to work with this organization, just click the link in the description box below, schedule a consultation, and we'll get you situated and paired with one of our amazing reading coaches. Now that that's out the way, let's jump into it. First and foremost, why is navigating difficult conversation with your child's school so hard? Why is it difficult? Mom, it's difficult because you are really having to step outside of your element and really go into an element where you're not too familiar with. And so what a lot of people believe is that if the school says that this is what my child is doing, then that is accurate. And I do agree with that to some degree. However, you do have to be accountable for all the labels and paperwork and everything that they're doing to your child to make sure that you are getting your child to the next best step. The other reason why it's difficult is because flat out, you don't understand how the school system works. So you pack your child up, you pack their lunch, you put their work in their book bag, you make sure they read every night, and you ship them off to school. They come back home, and then that's it, right? But in short, that's really not how it should be, especially if your child is a struggling reader. So 5 tips of why navigating difficult conversations are hard and what you can do. Tip number 1, I want you to seek to understand first. Now, I know that you're like, I always try to understand first. Let me put it into perspective for you. You just got a report in the mail, or you just got a report in their book bag, and it's saying all of these different things about your child. And you're like, I don't see that at home. I don't see that at home. Well, let's put it into perspective a little bit. At home, number 1, you have ways that you can discipline them that the school cannot, right? So if they are showing a behavior that the school cannot fix the way that you would fix it, then some of that may be true. At home, you may not necessarily understand how to teach reading. So the things that you're doing at home with them may not be closely aligned to what they should be doing, right? At school, there's a different expectation. There's a state expectation. There is a school expectation. And if you have a really good teacher, there is a class expectation. So what's on that report could absolutely be true. Your job is to seek to understand first. So that means when you send that email or when you send that remind message to that teacher, that you're not going in believing that what's on that report is false. Okay, you want to see where is that breakdown happening. Okay, tip number 2, I want you to be accountable. Now, I know you're like, well, Destiny, I am accountable. I'm making sure that they're getting their work done. I'm making sure that they are online when they're supposed to be online. But accountability can go even further. Accountability looks like, are you aware what the assignments are? Are you aware what that testing report really tells you about your child? Are you aware about what specific stage of reading that they're in? And here's the thing, do not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad mom because I don't know those things. That's why you're watching this video, because you do want to know those things. So instead of you saying like, well, I just don't get it, I don't understand, this is when you shoot that teacher a message and say, hey, I got the school report. Can you break this part down for me before I ask you any questions? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. That's what accountability looks like. Accountability goes beyond you just making sure that they're in class on time. And I get it. I'm a mom of 3. So it is hard navigating all of those things, but you have to make sure that you have done your due diligence before you just automatically jump at the school and the teacher, okay? Tip number 3, make sure you understand the hierarchy in the school. Now, this is really important when you start getting into like the whole testing for special education and the IEP. The teacher is literally the very first line of defense, okay? She's that first one to recognize when something is wrong, when something is off. But the key that I want you to really understand about that teacher is that she has a ton of things on him or her, okay? So for example, they're responsible for at most sometimes 27, 28 students, okay? If they, out of those 28 or 27 students, she has probably about 5 or 6 kids that may be going through that IEP process. So she is responsible, or he is responsible, for making sure that all that paperwork is going through and getting done on time, okay? The teacher is merely the first line of defense. Now, as you start going up higher, you've been accountable, you've sent out those emails, you understand what's happening between school and home, you've done all of that. That's when you come to that teacher and say, hey, I think there's a bigger problem. We've tried our part right here. What is the next step up? In most schools, there is a special education teacher, or you can just jump right to it and say, hey, I want to get my baby tested. And then after that, the special education teacher usually teams up with like the counselor, the school psychologist, all of those good people in order to create a case for your child, okay? So understand the school, the hierarchy in the school, all right? Next thing I want you to do, I want you to be direct and work together as a team. So what that means is that teacher is not your enemy. I don't care how heated those conversations get. I want you to understand that teacher is with your child for 8 hours out of the day. Like seriously, take that into consideration. That teacher is with your child for 8 hours out of the day. So there are things that that teacher knows about the way your child learns, how they work best. Now, could there be some things there like that the teacher doesn't understand? Of course, everyone's human, right? However, if you're not working as a team, here's the biggest thing that happens. That child can see through it. And when they can see through it, they are able to go and say, well, mom, my teacher said such and such, or Miss such and such, my mom said da da. And then guess what happens? They don't do the work, and then they are running the show and not you two running the show, okay? And then the last thing, tip number 5, I want you to seek additional support and stay on it. Here's what that means is, if you have met with the teacher, you have started the school process for an IEP, nothing is really being done, then now it's time for you to go outside of the building and get a parent advocate. We shot a video on this probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago where we talk about what parent advocacy is. I think I'll link that video in the description box below, okay? So let's recap. Navigating those difficult conversations. Number 1, seek to understand first. Number 2, be accountable. Have you done your due diligence? Number 3, understand that hierarchy in the school. Number 4, be direct. I want to get this done, and work as a team, because when you don't work as a team, the child wins. And if the child wins, they're going to do what they want to do, which is not what they need to do, okay? And number 5, seek additional support if nothing is working out. Again, my name is Destiny Gilliam, owner, founder, and center director of the Creative Reading Coach, where we provide online reading tutorial services for your child. If you're ready to begin, I'm not going to say if you're ready, when you're ready to begin, make sure you get started by scheduling a link by clicking the description box below. I said scheduling link. Schedule a consultation by clicking the link in the description box below. Peace and stay connected, guys.